Hi you guys, this video is a long time coming. I've been promising to start making videos for a while now, so here I am. I thought that I would start with a yin practice for the first video for a few different reasons. One, I already practiced a vinyasa flow this morning, so I'm feeling more yinish. And two, I love practicing yin in the afternoon. So it's afternoon here now. That's one of the great things about online classes is you can do this practice whenever works for you, whenever it's convenient for you. So any time of the day or night. And then the third reason I wanted to start with yin is a few of you have really been saying that you've been missing yin with me. So here I am, let us begin. Grab a hold of some props if you have them, so a block or blocks if you have. You can always use a big book or anything else that would work as a block. A bolster if you have one. If you don't have a bolster, you can always use a pillow or two, anything that can be comforting and supporting. So let's start off right away on your mat or even just the floor if you don't have a mat handy. And let's start in a mini shavasana. So one of the things that'll be different with this practice, if you're used to practicing with me, is that I will be doing the practice with you. So let's get comfortable on our backs. And stretch the legs out in front of you. Let your feet flop open. Arms comfortably by your sides, palms facing up, just to encourage the shoulders to open, maybe even wiggling through the shoulders and the hips a little to find comfort here. And then just take a moment to fully arrive here. So we've made it into this moment within our body, but allowing our mind to catch up as well. So allowing our mind to become present to this moment. So anything and everything going on in your life right now, good or bad, can we set it off to the side for now? So all the to-do lists, all the grocery lists, the bills, all the things that are kind of tugging at us, can we set it off to the side? And then bring yourself back into this moment by bringing your awareness into your breath. So just start to notice the breath without changing it just yet. Just notice your breath. Notice if this is the first time today that you've brought awareness to your breath. Without judgment, totally fine if you haven't noticed your breath until now, but notice if that's the case. And then see if we can take some longer, deeper breaths here. So full deep breaths in through your nose. And deep breaths out through either the nose or the mouth, whatever feels right to you in this moment. A couple more deep breaths. And let your breath come back to a more natural, neutral pace. You might blink your eyes open here, or you could keep them closed. We'll move right into our first posture, our first pose. So butterfly pose to start. So bring the soles of the feet together. The knees splay out to the sides of the room. You might take your blocks here and place them underneath your thighs. You might prefer to take stacked fists and place them under the thighs for some support. Or you may feel you don't need anything at all here. So you might just take your arms out to the sides with the palms up. Maybe you prefer one hand to the heart and one to the belly. So play around with what feels right in your body. And then find stillness. So In my Yin classes, I always go over the key principles. So there's 3 key principles in a Yin practice. The first one being softness. So in Yin, our muscles are cool. We come into the poses with softness, subtlety. So we're trying not to push or strive or strain. We're not trying to get anywhere too fast. And then the second principle is stillness. So once you get yourself into the pose, you see if you can stay in stillness without fidgeting, without wiggling, without movement, or as little as possible. And then the third key principle being steadiness. So staying in each posture for a significant amount of time. So Yin allows us to get into the deeper connective tissues, the ligaments, the fascia. So really letting time do the work for us, for the body. So come back to your connection to breath if you've lost it. There's no particular breathing style in Yin, but there's just that constant awareness on the breath. And I will continually remind you to breathe, or to bring awareness back to breath. And the mind may wander, it will wander at some points. Totally natural, normal, especially as we're just moving into the first pose. We're just coming onto our mats from wherever we were in our day, coming into this moment. And so it's very normal for the mind to wander, especially in the beginning of the practice. And when that happens, just remind yourself, come back to the breath. Come back to the sensations. So instead of avoiding the sensations, can you go right into them? So send your thoughts into the sensation. Where is it starting? Where is it ending? Taking just a few more full deep breaths here. And then bring your hands to the outsides of your legs. Help your legs together really slowly. Move the props off to the side if needed, and then hug your knees in towards the chest. Just a few breaths here. So we're not in any rush to get anywhere. We're moving really slowly, really gently. Slowly roll to your side. And then use the support of your hands to press yourself up to seated. Good. And then stretch your legs out in front of you when you get here. We're going to come into caterpillar pose. So we know caterpillar as a seated forward fold or Paschimottanasana. And normally in our vinyasa classes, we would flex and engage the core, the legs, and fold over the legs that way. In Yin, we take a really more relaxed approach. So let the toes roll out. You might even have a little bend in your knees. And then we'll find a fold forward, and everybody's different. So for some, a forward fold here might just be a slight tuck of the chin towards the chest, slowly folding gently towards the legs. For others, this is where your props may come in handy. You might like to take a bolster and place it on your legs and then fold over the bolster. You might use your block. Some people like to support the blocks underneath the forearms to support the arms, whatever works for you. So find that comfortable place, or as comfortable as you can be here. So take the first few moments to continue rearranging your props as needed. Adjust so that you can then find stillness. Come back to a slow and steady breath. And remember, we're not trying to get anywhere here. We're not trying to reach our maximum stretch or maximum fold here. We're just gently easing into the posture, easing into the pose. Notice if you're holding any tension in the head, the neck, the jaw. See where you can soften. Check in with the fingers, the toes. Check in and notice where your mind may have wandered to. Where did your thoughts maybe go? So notice that in moments of stillness, moments of maybe discomfort, where does your mind go? And again, without judgment, just notice. Be the witness to your thoughts. Fighting, resisting any urge to fidget or to move around. Sending your breath right into the backs of the legs, into the lower back, or wherever else you're feeling the stretch, feeling tension here. Notice if you're clenching your teeth, soften the jaw. And take just a few more full deep breaths here. And moving really slow here. Bring your hands to the floor just to slowly support you as you straighten out the spine. Move your props to the side. And then take a moment bending the knees. And then you might sit up straight here. You might prefer to tuck your chin towards the knees. Just a few moments in stillness. The moments in between the postures are just as important as the postures, the poses, the shapes themselves. And slowly, if you're bent over the knees, straighten out the spine. And then let's cross at the ankles, bring our hands in front of us. Make our way onto all fours, so our tabletop position. And then take your left leg and cross it over the right. So I can turn here to face you now. So left knee crosses over the right. And then take your legs, your feet out wide. Good. And then slowly come back to sit on the sitting bones if that works for you. If it doesn't work, you can always use your block on any level. And then if it doesn't work for you still to come into the posture this way, you could always straighten out the legs, bend the left knee on top of the right. You might stay there, or you might swing that right leg underneath you. And so find some balance in the sitting bones. And then we'll find a fold here as well. So it may again be chin towards the chest. You might be using your props here again to find a fold, head towards the knee, if that works for you. So take a moment, get yourself comfortable, settle in. And right away, especially with these hip openers, notice where you're clenching or holding on. So our tendency here is to really kind of hold on in our hips. Can we soften into it, and can we let go any amount? Again, check in with the mind, see where it's wandered. Come back to the sensation and come back to the breath. Last few full, deep, intentional breaths here. And then slowly, with the support of your hands, slowly bring yourself back up to a straight spine. Let's move the props off to the side just for a moment. And then rock yourself forward onto the hands. Unwind the legs. And then just finding a brief child's pose, whether you want the knees together or wide. Sink your hips back. Reach the arms forward. Or any other arm placement that works for you. If you prefer them back behind, hands by the feet with the palms up, you could take that option. Just a few breaths. And then moving really slowly, let's come back onto the hands and knees, so back into tabletop position. Setting up for the second side, so the right leg will cross over the left this time. Take your feet out wide, and then again, come back to sit, either on the sitting bones or on your block. And then I like to get a good stacking of the knees, and then find balance again in your sitting bones. And then once again, find your fold, whether it's chin to chest or your props, and slowly find the fold that works for you for your shoelace pose. So I haven't mentioned yet, as I always mention in every yin class, the poses have different names than we know them. For example, this one, shoelace, in our vinyasa or in a flow class, we could call it Gomukhasana or cow-facing pose. And the reason it has a different name, they have different names, is because we come into them with different intentions. So we're not trying to get to our full depth, full stretch. We're trying to, again, just let time do the work for us. So again, soften the neck, the shoulders, the face. See if you can unclench and release any amount through the hips. One side may feel completely different than the last. That's totally normal. Noticing your own tendencies. I've mentioned before to most of you in my classes before, my personal tendency when I have tension in a pose is to clench the jaw, kind of squeeze the teeth. And so one of the tricks I've learned over the years is just to either place my tongue in between the teeth, or the tongue to the, just behind my teeth, the roof of my mouth, will help stop clenching the teeth and kind of gritting through the jaw. So soften in and notice your own tendencies. Again, resisting the urge to fidget or wiggle. Figgle's my new word apparently. And then take about 10 more of your longest, deepest, most intentional breaths here. And then slowly, using the support of your hands, again, come up to a straight spine. Let's set our props off to the side. And then, again, rocking forward onto the hands, uncross the legs. And find another child's pose again, a moment of a pose, a transition, a pose between the poses. And then slowly use your hands to press yourself back up. And then let's do everyone's favorite pose, toe stretch. So I'm gonna turn to the side for this one, tuck your toes, and as I always do, take a moment to spread the toes so that every toe is touching the mat. Good. You can always place a block underneath the sitting bones here for a little less pressure. So find what works for you. And then close the eyes and settle in. You guys know I had to add this one in. Come right into your breath. And notice the quality of your breath. So noticing if your tendency is to shorten the breath or quicken the breath, or just notice how the breath changes in moments of discomfort. See if you can maybe even smile. If you can't smile, at least soften the muscles in the face, the jaw. So letting go of unnecessary tension. So we don't need to be holding tension in our shoulders here or in our fingers. Notice if you're holding any unnecessary tension in the belly, maybe clenching the belly or squeezing, tightening the belly muscles. Can you just let your belly relax? Notice if you're leaning more onto one foot or the other. It will help if you try to stay as balanced as you can here on the feet. And send your breath right into this tension. Send the breath into the feet. Visualize the breath going into every toe. And we won't stay as long as we sometimes do here or have in the past. Stay here for a few more deep breaths. Good, and then ever so slowly and gently lean yourself forward, come back onto the hands and knees. You might tap out your feet if that feels wanted or needed. And then come into child's pose again. Sink the hips, reach the arms, bow the forehead down. A moment to observe the sensation in your toes and your feet. Good, and then for this next one, we're going to make our way onto the belly. So sliding, gliding our way onto the belly for Sphinx pose. So stretch your legs out long behind you. Come onto the forearms. So the elbows right underneath the shoulders. And one thing with this pose, if we were in a regular class, I'd really say push into the forearms and lift the chest and lift the shoulders away from the ears. But Yin, we have the option to allow the shoulders to actually shrug up by the ears. This is one of the only times you'll ever hear me say you can allow the shoulders to shrug up by the ears if that feels right to you. No matter what, we're still pressing into the forearms and finding a slight lift of the chest just so we can feel that compression into the lower back. And then close your eyes or just keep your gaze really soft here. Relax your legs, relax the feet and toes. And then imagine now the lower spine breathing. Send your breath there. Notice the quality of your breath in this shape. So how does this shape in your body, this pose, how does it affect your breathing? And does it affect the quality of your breathing? Soften again the muscles in the face. Letting your breath be your anchor into the present moment. Allow the breath to soothe any anxiety or fear that might come up. Relax the back of the neck as much as you can. Here for about another minute. See if you can stay as still as possible, as present as possible. Last few breaths. And then really gently take your elbows out wide, bring one hand on top of the other and either forehead to the mat, or you might turn one cheek to the hands or the mat. Moment you might shake out your hips just slightly, release through the lower back. If you turn your head one side, turn it the opposite for a few breaths just to balance things out. So the opposite cheek to the hands or mat. And slowly bring your head back to neutral if it's not at center. Bring your hands underneath the shoulders. Let's press back into one last child's pose. Any child's pose that works for you again. Any arm variation that works for you. Maybe shake the head no a few times. Little massage to the forehead. Really slowly, with the support of your hands, press yourself back up through seated. We'll swing our legs out from in front of us. And then let's make our way onto our backs. Nice and slow, mindful movements all the way to the back. Good. Put a bend into the knees if they're not bent already. Let's cross the left knee over top of the right. And then arms wherever works for you. So they may be out into a T-shaped position. You may cactus the elbows with the palms up, whatever works for you here. And then slowly let your knees fall to the right side of the room. And then if this is too much, you could always place a prop underneath your knees. You could always uncross the knees and just stack one on top of the other if that feels best. Your head might stay at neutral here. Your head might face the same direction as your knees, or to complete the twist, you might turn your head all the way to the opposite side, so towards your left hand. And then just soften into your twist. Either close your eyes or just keep the gaze really soft. Soften the shoulder blades. Notice again any tendency to grip or clench or hold on. Where can you let go? So that top hip, that left hip, see if you can let go and soften there, any amount. Relax every finger. Again, relax the jaw. Notice the mind. Where is it? And can you bring it right back into this moment, into this shape? So really be present into this twist. If your head is off to one side, slowly bring the head back to neutral. A little bit of core engagement here just to bring our legs back to center. Uncross your legs. And then let's hug the knees in towards the chest. Just a few breaths in between sides. A moment to observe any differences between the left and the right side. Good, and then slowly bring your feet back to the floor. And then setting up for our second side, right knee crosses over the left. Again, arms wherever works for you. And then slowly let the knees now fall to the left. And then do whatever you did with your head on the first side. Try to keep things balanced. So if you turn it, turn it. Noticing if this side is any different than the last. And then as you practice, the more we practice, we start to learn which side is tighter than the other. So notice what is the case for you. If the head is turned, bring it back to center. And then slowly again engage the core. Bring your knees back to center. Uncross the legs. Again, the knees come into the chest. Give yourself a hug here. A moment. Just to notice whatever comes up for you physically, mentally, emotionally. And then let's come into our final resting pose. So into Shavasana from here. Straightening out the legs if that works for you. You can always bring a bolster. I always like to place my bolster underneath my thighs, under the knees. Takes a little pressure off the spine. Arms out to the sides, palms facing up if that works for you. Or any shape in the body that's going to bring you the most comfort. So find that restful place. And then gently close your eyes. Let the back of the body get really heavy. And let the front side of your body get really light, really soft. Relax all the muscles in the face, the neck, the shoulders. Relax into the arms, the hands, the fingers. Relax into the chest, the belly, the legs, the feet, the toes. And again, as the mind wanders, that's okay, but can you come back to this moment? Can you come back to this breath? If you've been to my classes before, this is the time I would come around with peppermint oil to rub on your temples, and the back of the neck, backs of the ears. You might even be able to smell peppermint oil in this moment now that I said it. And just imagine imagine I'm there to rub it on you. And then can you soften further? If you would like a longer Shavasana, please feel free to stay where you are for as long as you would like, as long as you wish. It's one of the great things about an online practice. You can stay in a lengthy Shavasana if you want. If you would like to come out of Shavasana, start to slowly take some deeper, longer breaths. Start to add some slight movements to the fingers, the toes, maybe even shaking the head back and forth, a little massage to the back of the head. If you'd like to take a full body stretch here, you might reach the arms over the head, toes out in front of you. And then slowly roll yourself onto your side, just a few breaths, a few moments on your side. And really slowly pushing into the hand or hands to help press yourself up to any comfortable seat. So either keeping your eyes closed or keeping the gaze soft. Sit up nice and tall, and then bring your hands to your heart center. Let's bow our head towards our hands. As you know, I always like to take the first moment to thank our bodies for the hard work that they do for us, never taking them for granted. We're so lucky to have these bodies that we have, these vessels that we have. And then taking our ever important moment of gratitude. So think of something or someone that you're grateful for today. And then let the corners of your mouth turn up. Let a smile come upon your face, across your face. Take that smile with you into the rest of your day and into your life. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me, even if it's from afar. Namaste. Thank you, guys. Bye.